Okay, today's screencast is going to be a short one. It's just going to be a quick review of some of the things that we've already learned, and you can kind of use this to make sure that you're solid on the concepts so far before we start advancing to more difficult concepts. So I'm showing you a program that basically calculates the area of a triangle, and it uses several of the concepts that we've learned so far. The first thing you'll notice is that I have comments in the code, and comments are statements that that can be read by the human, but that are safely ignored by the computer programming language, which in our case so far has always been CoffeeScript. And then the first concept that I illustrate is how you create a function. So the function itself is really the stuff that I've highlighted to the right, and then I've bound this function expression to a variable called area so that I can use that function later. And a function is essentially a mapping of one or more parameters, which in these cases are named b and h, to some other more complicated expression that uses those parameters, and the parameters are separated from the final expression by this right arrow, which is basically the minus sign and then the greater than sign. So I've defined a function that binds parameters to an expression and assigns it to a variable. And then we talked a little bit about data types. There are basically two data types. There's numbers and then there are strings. These obviously are numbers. And then I use console.log down here on line 11. If you remember, this part over here on the right is called the console, and when we say that we want to log something to the console, it's essentially the same thing as printing to the console. And so we say console.log, the area is, and then in the next line, line 12, we actually take advantage of this function or formula that we've created up here that allows us to compute the area of a triangle. And maybe I'll make that a little more explicit. I'll say the area of our triangle is, let me push the window out a little bit so that you can see that. Okay, and let me scroll over a little bit. And so now when I run the program, you see this. So this right here, you might want to pause right now and just sort of review this program, but these are the concepts that I hope you have under your belt so far, so that when we move into newer concepts, you have a solid foundation. That's it. Thanks.